Hi, Christian. Hello. Hi, Christine. Have you enrolled for this demo uh, through the WhatsApp group? Hello, Kristen. Am I audible? Hey Ravinder. Hey Rajkumar. Ravinder, Rajkumar, you're able to hear me talking?
Yeah, it is audible.
Okay, okay. Christine, I know you've been there in this call for a while. Can you please respond? I just wanted to make sure the profile is the right profile or if it is. I'm seeing some spam profiles in the group. Christine, can you please respond? Christine? Hmm. Okay, so let's see. Sai Srinivas, thanks for joining the call. Give me 1 second. I'm just trying to verify a few profiles here.
Good morning, sir.
Okay, so Sai Srinivas, you're able to hear me well? Okay, folks, so we are just waiting to see if someone else is joining. I know this session was supposed to start 15 minutes back. Give me a few minutes as I'm verifying it with the coordinators. Once we are there, we'll start. Hope that is fine with everyone.
Yes.
Okay, while we wait for the admin team to join, um, folks here, I just wanted to understand. I thought like there will be many in the call, but then we are only few people. So can we talk, be interactive? I would like to understand what is your interest towards a Snowflake, the possible reason for getting enrolled in this demo. Accordingly, I can address some of the questions and I can explain few things with you guys. So, would you be able to, you're comfortable talking through in this call, or Ravinder, Rajkumar, Sai Srinivas?
Yes,
Uh,
sir. Uh,
Hello.
Hello. So good morning. This is Raj Kumar.
Hey, Rajkumar.
Yes. My past experience, I worked on ETL tool that is IBM Data Stage. So to upgrade my skills, I want to learn this Snowflake. So I want to know before this learning.
I'm sorry, your voice seems to be very low. Could you please repeat what you just said?
Yes, sir. Now you are. It is audible, sir.
It is audible. It is audible.
Yeah. My past, I was experienced in ETL, so that is IBM Data Stage.
Okay.
Now I want to upgrade my skills into Snowflake. So also before that, I want to know about the Snowflake. How it's
Okay. Okay. Sounds fair. Sounds
uh,
fair. Um, Ravinder, um, would you like to share, or if you are not comfortable talking, if you just put it across in the chat also, it's good enough.
Actually, I'm a research analyst, and I worked with the data,
Okay.
so it may be useful to me or not. Just I want to know this demo.
Okay.
Is it added advantage or not? Just because I attended attending this demo.
Okay. So when you say you worked on data, what did you do, Ravinder?
As I worked with the data,
Okay. Okay. Using
like data, yeah, using data.
okay. Okay. And Sai Srinivas, how about you? Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, great. Give me a few more minutes. Christine Jenkins, can you speak up? I wanted to make sure the profile or the person through Christine Jenkins is a legitimate person or if it is a spam caller. Request you to please talk or at least let us know your intentions. Okay, I'm going to get someone from admin to make this call disconnected. Christine, if you're hearing this, request you to please disconnect. Give me a few minutes, guys. Okay, someone from admin is joining. Please give some time. I just got the confirmation now. Hello. Hi, good morning. Okay, sorry about that, folks. There was one user who seems to me a spam user, so I didn't want to like have them in the call while we are talking through. That's why I got the admin involved to get them out of the way. Now we are clear. I see a few of other folks who have joined. I hope I'm pronouncing their name correctly. Rotella Sandesh. Um, Hey, thanks for joining the call. I just wanted to, we were going through a round of talks where we were trying to understand your interest towards Snowflake. Could you briefly tell me like if there is any specific reason for the interest or you just wanted to know what Snowflake is?
Hello.
Hi, Sandesh.
Yeah, actually, like when I was looking for some like doing automations like that, I heard that this Snowflake will play some role um, in automations. That's why I wanted to somewhat curious to know about this. Yeah.
Okay, sounds
Hello?
good. Yes, Sandesh, I was able to hear you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Okay, so let's start. So this session, since we have few members, you can always stop me where you feel there is a doubt or question, and I can address that when we are doing the call. Okay, so the agenda for today's session is going to be first introduction and career opportunities for both ourselves as well as Snowflake. Okay, and then we will look into a hands-on demo. After the hands-on demo, we will look at Snowflake Power Features. Then we will look at a real-world success stories if you guys are interested. And finally, we will look at the learning path and the next steps. Okay. Okay. So first start with introduction and career opportunities. So this is me. Punshankar Palanivel is my complete name. I'm an AWS and Snowflake certified architect. Had good experience with cloud data engineering. I started my career as business intelligence professional and then came into cloud engineering and then finally into data architect. Um, I have around 13 years of experience. The last 5 years, I'm practicing as a data architect. A lot of work into AWS and pretty much a good amount of work on the Snowflake. I'm also Snowflake certified, so I'm fully qualified to conduct the training that you're in. So this is the LinkedIn link if you guys wanted to get in touch and follow with me, talk to me for any questions, please use this. You can always send me a message and I can find a relevant time to get in touch with you. Apart from this, I also share the knowledge that I've gained through different forums. There is a page called Learner's Chain that I'm having where I will publish latest Snowflake information, AWS related details, and generative AI related information. And then the right side, what you see is a Learner's Chain Medium. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of Medium. Medium is a platform where you can publish technical articles and articles about new technologies that is coming in. I have few articles there. I keep publishing some of the articles as I learn stuff. So if you guys ever wanted to get in touch, take a look of any of these. Please feel free to do so. Just for the convenience, I'm just copy pasting um, the links for you to get in touch with me if you need it. Okay, let me put that into the Zoom chat window. Okay, so this is about me and about you guys. I think like you've given me a brief understanding of what you are doing and what is your interest towards Snowflake. So that is good enough. Now let's look at the Snowflake's market explosion. Uh, let's understand what these numbers are and then why we need to know these numbers. So the bullet points that you see here are basically Snowflake's market evolution, which is like 3.6 billion in revenues for financial year 2025, 131% net revenue retention rate. Cloud data solution market is to be 290 billions by 2027, and Snowflake is just 1.4% out of it. Before going deep into these numbers, let's think through it. So these are Snowflake numbers, right? Snowflake is getting more revenue. Snowflake has better opportunities into by 2029. So what is in it for us, right? Snowflake as a company is flourishing. That company is getting a lot of revenues and profit. What is the profit for us? The profit for us, if you think through it, is the time when you learn a particular technology. So AWS is one of the technologies which is right now highly competitive and highly paying, right? So think about a scenario few years back when AWS what was at the stage of evolution, and at that time you have learned AWS. So a lot of people who learned AWS at the time AWS was about to evolve had huge opportunities coming in their way. Along with the AWS development, they also developed numerous opportunities came into picture. They used the opportunities, and then uh, along with the number of developments that you see in the growth pattern that you saw for AWS, the growth pattern was more or less similar for the people who took that AWS root career at the very beginning of AWS flourishing. So similar is where Snowflake is, if you ask me, based on my experience. Uh, why is Snowflake becoming a big talk now? I will explain you the technical details of it. So let's do, give me one moment. I would like to do a whiteboard. Okay, so let's take an example. Let's say you're working for a company A, right? So this company, let's say they are having all their technologies, their databases, their application, everything in AWS. Okay. A lot of companies like this, let's say this company is a Fortune 500 company or even a startup, whichever type of company this company can be. The company wants to have cloud agnostic solution. Okay. Now, what is cloud agnostic? Cloud agnostic is a company not depending on one single cloud provider. So in today's industry, the two major cloud providers which is established are AWS, GCP, which is Google, and Azure, which is Microsoft. Okay, so these are the major providers in the market now. So let's say a company doesn't want to just dependent on AWS completely. Let's say they wanted to have their establishment in GCP and Azure. So let's say company A, right? So this company A wants to have its establishment in all these three cloud providers so that it is cloud agnostic. It could be for any reason like business continuity plans or reducing the dependency on one single cloud provider. Whatever the reason can be, let's say this company wants to have establishment in AWS, GCP, and Azure. What the company needs for this to be done is it needs AWS resources, right? People who know AWS, people who are familiar with AWS, and then they need to manage AWS services, right? The same applies for GCP. They need GCP resources, they need GCP management for and monitoring of services. Same for Azure. They need people who know Azure, and then people who need the services. For example, if you take me, my footprint is majorly on AWS, so I work through AWS a lot. If you ask me to immediately go and work on GCP, then I would need a learning time, right? So how is Snowflake solving this problem? So Snowflake can be launched. So okay, before I go there, Snowflake sits on top of a cloud provider. So, okay, so that's how when you create a Snowflake, it will ask you which cloud provider you would like your data to be hosted. So Snowflake, you would be able to create one account in AWS. You can create another account in GCP. Okay, and then you can create another account in Azure. Okay, these are just different accounts, and then you can send data between these accounts as you do between different databases. Okay, so the benefit here is for this to work, this is all happening in the backend. right? Nothing is happening directly. So all a person needs to know in this environment is Snowflake. A Snowflake resource who's familiar with the Snowflake functionalities would be able to manage, you know, implementations on AWS, GCP, and Azure, because these are all is in the backend. All you see and interact is in the way Snowflake is. So this major advantage that Snowflake is providing is one of the reasons that, at least in my experience, I'm seeing a lot of companies moving towards a Snowflake. A lot of companies who are having AWS as their primary solution provider are also looking for Snowflake as their data warehouse, which is the reason why Snowflake has become a little popular in the last 1 to 2 years. Okay. So this is the major reason why you are seeing, opportunities increasing for Snowflake. This is evident in so these are some of the things that you would realize when you start adding Snowflake to your resume or your LinkedIn. You will see opportunities coming your way if you say like you are like a Snowflake certified expert, or you know Snowflake, right? Because that's what I faced. The moment I once I completed the Snowflake certification, when I updated it, I saw a lot of opportunities in Snowflake coming through my way, um, which is also an evidence of how popular it is now. So, moving past this is where you would be able to see the job market, right? So right now, so these are details I've collected from research websites. So I'm not posting this just to like impress you guys. But we see a lot of active job postings on LinkedIn. I've listed 6,000 based on the research when I conducted while creating this presentation. It could be more or less, but you can always check this out. Okay, 50% year-on-year growth in data engineering roles. So this is a very common theme than Snowflake. But when you talk about data engineering in AWS, Snowflake, Azure, or GCP, there is like 50% year-on-year growth. Whatever GenAI tools come into picture, there is always demand for the data engineering and data architecting role. And there are like 691 Fortune Global 2000 companies that use Snowflake now. We see a 30% penetration among world's largest enterprise, and salary ranges are all over the website. I do not want to like flaunt numbers saying this is what Snowflake's salary is, but you can take a look in Glassdoor and other places. I'm based out of Canada, but and I am able to look at the salary ranges here, but I cannot like directly relate it with the salary ranges in India, but I'm pretty sure it is relatively in the same trend. Okay. Moving to the next step. So this is what I think from my experience as a skill progression blueprint. So I know like a couple of you guys told me that you are students, and then there is few people who are experienced. So this is the Snowflake experience that is required to call yourself foundationally skilled or intermediately skilled or expert skilled. Foundational skill is typically between 0 to 2 years, where you understand Snowflake's architecture, you know some of the cloud fundamentals, and where your SQL proficiency is decent. Okay. Intermediate skill is usually between 2 to 5 years, where along with the previous foundational skills, you understand what data modeling concept is. You understand some of the advanced Snowflake features like streams and tasks. And then you develop some kind of proficiency with the integration tools, especially with dbt. Then we talk about expert skills. Expert skills are typically you design Snowflake architecture, implement multi-cloud strategies, data governance, converting business requirements to scalable data solution. which is where you will be once you go through, foundation skills, intermediate skills, and expert skills. So this is basically what I wanted to show you as a very introductory and career opportunities perspective. But the next topic is hands-on demo, where we will be going into a Snowflake environment, doing some queries, looking at the performance of it, and then understand how Snowflake works, and um, uh, then uh, I will show you few things which might be, too much at the very initial stages, but I need to do that for you to understand how is Snowflake better than the other databases, traditional database approaches that you would have seen in the past. Okay, bear with me for it, but before even I go into the hands-on demo, any questions on what we saw so far? Or are we looking good? Let me check. If you guys are not comfortable talking, that is fine. You can always shoot a chat message and then I can get that addressed. Okay. Okay. If there is no further questions, let's move into the hands-on demo. Let me quickly change my sharing mechanism. 1 second. Okay, let me know once you guys are able to see my screen. Are you guys able to see my screen? Okay, so I know this is a Saturday morning, so I'm not expecting a lot from you. But a thumbs up, yes, no would help.
Yes, Shankar, we are able.
Okay, great. Okay, so this is the Snowflake home page. Before even we go there, let's understand something. So let's say you are a student or you are a working professional, you do not have Snowflake environment in your organization, and you wanted to go through with the learning stage, right? There is something called Snowflake trial version. If you see here, the trial ends in 16 days. Snowflake trial version is usually available for 30 days. There is like $400 credit, which is usually translated to around 200 credit in usage. Okay, so this anyone would be able to get. All you need to do is, let me check if it still routes me Snowflake trial, sorry, account. Okay, you just need to come here, provide your first and last name, provide all the details that is required. It won't ask for a credit card. At least it didn't ask for a credit card when I tried doing this from Canada. I think it would be the same case for you guys also. So you will just need to go through the first, last name, work email, etc. And then you will be able to create a Snowflake trial version that you could use to play around and understand what Snowflake is. So when you log in into your Snowflake, this is what you will see. The home page is basically like one single page where you will be able to see all the things that Snowflake has. There are some quick actions like you can upload local files, you can load from cloud storage, query data, invite other users to collaborate. And then there are certain things that will show some of the things that is there at the left-hand side is available here also, like all projects, worksheets, notebooks, Streamlit, dashboards, etc. To understand more about each of these things, it requires some level of detailed understanding of Snowflake, which we can go through it in the later classes. For now, for the sake of the demo, let's look at briefly what the UI is, and then we will move forward into the working scripts that we are having. So at the left-hand corner, you will be able to see search projects. Projects is majorly where you will have worksheets, which is worksheets are nothing but SQL sheets that you can create for querying. Notebooks is a method that Snowflake is using to replicate more like what you see from a Jupyter notebook. If you guys have used Python before, there is a Jupyter notebook for Python, which will be like a notebook where you enter the query and the query executes and gives you the result below it. And then you can enter another code in the second line. So that kind of environment is what Snowflake is also having. Snowflake supports some of the major languages like PySpark, JavaScript, etc. Streamlit is like an app. So think about a scenario where you want to create a small app for data visualization. It's made easier with Streamlit. It's a Python library. We just need to like code it a little bit, and you would be able to create a UI that has things like data visualization and not only data visualization like Gen AI. You would have seen like generative AI nowadays is easier to create chatbots, right? Similar kind of chatbot can be created in Streamlit also. So that is their dashboards are there. You can create visualizations, and not to the extent of what you would have seen in data visualization tools like Tableau or Power BI, but some basic visualization is supported, and it could be collected together in the form of the dashboards here. Okay, app packages, templates, servers, and jobs, workspaces are certain advanced things, and few things are in preview, which means like it's more like a beta version that is available. Then you see the data. Data is where you would be able to see all the databases that you're having. Snowflake Learning DB, Snowflake Sample Data are databases that is by default created when you open your Snowflake. But these are the databases I created for my experiment. You can also do the same. I will show you how. Add data is like you can load data into Snowflake. Integrations, migrations are advanced concepts. Then you have data products. Data products is where you have external data coming into Snowflake, or ways in which external data can come into Snowflake, like marketplace, apps, private sharing, provider studio, etc. These are advanced topics. AI and ML, Snowflake has pretty much good establishment in AI and ML. There's something called Cortex Analyst, which helps you understand how you can write a natural language query to a table. Okay, so there are certain steps that needs to be done, but this, from what I've tried so far, it is very good. There are certain other tools also like Cortex Playground, Cortex Search, classification, anomaly detection, and forecasting. These are the things that has been maintained here. Document AI is an interesting OCR technology where, let's say you put PDFs, receipts, hard copies, it will be able to extract information out of it. Monitoring is basically gives you information about what query executed, when it executed, what was the result, and so on. Admin is where you control the cost. You look at the warehouses. We will discuss all these things in detail. Account, security, context, buildings, and terms. Okay. So from a navigation perspective, I believe at least you would have got a very brief idea about what each one of these are. And you see the name that I'm having at the top, bottom left. So this is the name that, this is my name, and then this is the role which has been assigned. So since I created it, I'm the account admin. So if I click on it, I can change this role if I have multiple role. This is the account detail that I'm having. If you click on view account details, these are the details that is required for, let's say you want to connect this to to Tableau or Power BI. You would need the host name, which is nothing but the server name here. You would need other details like username, password, account locator. So whatever information you need is here. Okay. And you will also be able to see the credits here. So from the UI perspective, I think this is good enough detail to start with. So let's see some query running in action. Okay, let me open this demo file. I think this is the one that I was having. So what we are going to do today is I'm going to walk you through on creating certain things, and then I will slowly explain you what we are creating. Some of these concepts, when I walk you through it, you might understand what I'm saying, but you might not be able to relate to how it all falls in place into a bigger picture. That is majorly because in the demo we are quickly going through it. But let's say if we are in a detailed training, then you will go from a step-by-step basis to understand what each of those concepts are and how do they relate with the bigger picture. Okay, so if you're not deeply understanding something, that is fine. But let's go through with it. So some of these things I've already created. For example, when you open a worksheet, at the top right, you will see a few details. One is the role which is being used for running this query. I'm running it based on account admin. And then you will see values, demo WH1, demo WH. Warehouse is more like a compute power that is required for running this query. Okay. So as a first step, what I'm doing is I'm creating a new warehouse. So demo WH underscore one was the old warehouse, but let's say for this demo, let's create underscore two, another version. So key points are I'm saying create or replace warehouse with warehouse size. I'm giving a size for the warehouse. There are different sizes like XS, S, medium, large, XL. Each one has higher power based on the t-shirt size. Auto suspension is like I tell it like if um, if the warehouse is not being used for 1 minute continuously, then suspend it. Okay. Auto resume means like if I need the warehouse, let's say this warehouse is inactive now because you see this dot here, right? The dot is not green. Usually when a warehouse is active, this dot will appear in green. So, but when I run the query, before I create this warehouse, I need to use some compute to create this warehouse, right? So when I run this, I think like it might get activated. Okay. But the auto resume feature is basically, let's say this warehouse is suspended. When I run a query, it will automatically come back online. Okay. Now let's create this. The way you run it is, if there is a semicolon, you can just place your cursor against the semicolon and you can click on it to run it, or you can click Control Enter, which is what I'm doing. Okay, so you see warehouse demo WH2 successfully created. So this looks very simple, right? But let me explain. A warehouse is like a compute power. So for those of you guys who have used AWS, for them, warehouse is like a EC2 instance. Basically, it's a compute. So AWS is a platform that made creating compute very easy. In the previous days, when you have to create a compute, you have to configure it, you have to configure the CPU, a lot of different dependencies with it. But even in AWS, if you think about it, you will have to create a particular compute, install an OS into it. You need to give it instructions in terms of how it should behave, and then you will use the compute, right? So you see, the same thing you created in a code, and then it didn't even take in a couple of minutes. So that is one of the main advantages of Snowflake. A lot of these things are abstracts on top of the cloud providers, and it is much easier to do. So let me, now we have created the warehouse. I'm just saying show warehouses. You would be able to see this warehouse is presently in the suspend stage. Okay, and just for you to see, you will see this warehouse has started and it is in green. Okay, so we can create some roles and personas. This is just for the sake of creating, but we might not be using this in the demo. So I'm just creating you some roles. Roles are typically how, like in a database, you have super admin, system admin, and then reader, viewer, read and writer, right? Similar to that, you can create roles, you can create users, and you can assign privileges to the roles based on what someone needs. Okay. These concepts, you don't have to go deeper into it for now. Just follow through with me. Just granting permissions for the warehouse that we created. Okay. Providing the roles against the users that we created. So those are fine. Now let's create a demo database. Let's say webinar demo 2. Okay. I created the warehouse, sorry, the database, and the database should be appearing here. Okay. Now let's use the warehouse too, and let's create a schema analytics. Okay, now if I click, I should be able to see the schema analytics. Now let's create another schema dev environment. Dev environment is here. I'm just going to run through some permissions just to make sure we have the right permissions. Although I'm going to run it from the account admin, I just want to show you how some of these things are typically treated. Okay, now we have the warehouses. We are using the demo WH_2. Let's use the schema analytics. Interpretation, not now. So now we need to understand one important concept called resource monitors. Resource monitors is like, let's say you create a Snowflake trial version. You are having like a 400 credit limit, and then you wanted to stick within that limit, or you wanted to plan uh, spending only 100 credits per week, right? How do you do that? So the way you track resource monitor, the resource is through the resource monitors. So what these do is like you can give a credit quota where let's say you say 100, and then it should run on a daily basis, and it should check. This basically says like start timestamp is immediately, meaning when I run it, it immediately starts. So what this does is when your credit consumption is 75% of 20, it will notify you. Okay. When it goes to 90%, it will suspend the warehouse. When it is trying to suspend it, let's say you are having a query running, it will wait for the query to complete and then it will suspend it. But let's say if it is credit quota is 20 consumed, 100%, then it will suspend immediately, which means if your query is running, it will cancel the query and it will suspend the warehouse immediately. The reason why we are doing this is in Snowflake, the majority of the cost consumption is through compute. So this makes sure that you're not burning money when the compute is not within your budget. Okay, so this I have already created, so maybe I do not need to create it once again. But here, after you create, you need to attach it to the warehouse that it should monitor. So the new warehouse that we created, I'm just assigning it to this new warehouse. Okay. Now when I click on show resource monitors, now you would be able to see the credit limit, what is the frequency, and all this information. Okay. Now let's use some data that Snowflake already has. Okay. I'm using the database Snowflake sample data. 1 second. And I'm using the schema that is there within the sample data. So these are details that you would be able to see here. Okay. I'm selecting tables from the information schema. So what I wanted to check is I wanted you to take a look at it. Basically, what this tells us is through information schema, it basically tells us what are the tables that schema is having, what is the row count, what is the bytes. So if you see this row count, it is around 600 million records. So think about a scenario where in your company you're having a database and there is around 600 million records that you wanted to query on. Okay. To leave 600 million, even if you think about 10 million records, people who have queried the database for 10 million records will know how complex it is and how cost intensive and time consuming it would be. So now what we are going to do is we are going to select this table. We are basically going to query it. We are going to do some aggregations. We are going to submit. Okay. We are also grouping it and ordering it. So order by is an intensive activity because it needs to scan through the entire table. Okay. Let's check how much time this will take. It took 7.8 seconds. Okay, and that too we are using a small size warehouse. So this is the compute power. This is not just the compute power. So this is, I would say this is the power of Snowflake. The way this is executed so fast is because of several concepts that Snowflake uses to manage data inside their platform. Which are advanced topics, but I just wanted to show you the the speed of it. Now we have done this query. Now let's say I run the same query again. How much time do you guys think it will take? If you think 7.8 seconds, let's try. It took 84 milliseconds now. Right? The reason being Snowflake's caching ability. So Snowflake caches the data and it has a particular mechanism that helps you not burn your compute when you're looking at the same query and same data multiple times in a day. Okay, that is the reason it was just computed in 84 milliseconds. I hope this is clear. Now I wanted to introduce a concept called time travel. So think about a scenario in your organization where you are inserting few records into a table and you corrupted the table. So you corrupted the table, you have to roll back the changes or you have to get the table back in the form it was previously there. So in normal traditional databases approaches, it is not a very easy task. Okay. Now we are going to do a similar kind of mistake in Snowflake intentionally, and then we are going to see how we will solve it. Okay, give me 1 moment, please. Okay. Now let's look at the tables that we can use. Okay. I'm looking at the same sample data. I think I'm using the customer table. So let's say database, let's use the database that we have created. Okay, and schema, we are going to use the scheme analytics schema. We are going to create a table customer underscore demo from Snowflake sample data for the first 1,000 records alone. That's why it says limit 1,000. Okay. Solution executed it's not allowed. Give me 1 second. Oh, we have sample data, create or replace table. Image and share a database. Give me 1 second. Let me try to see if we can create it in a different way. Okay, let's do one thing. Sample data. Let's use the table that I've already created. Analytics table customer demo. Customer demo table. So let's say while we are doing this, just one more information is, let's say you are looking at a table here. The way you can get the complete path into the select query is you can click here and say place name in the editor. Now let's look at this and you would be able to see the customer data, right? So there is CNAME, customer information that is there. Let's say you're updating, let's replicate a scenario to see how a corrupted table will look. Okay, now the time is 12:09 in here. So let me go. Customer data restaurant exit. Okay, 1 second. I need to use this complete path. Okay, update. 1 second, my copy is not working. 1 second. Okay. Why is it not working? Copy. Okay. So I'm updating this table. I'm setting column name as corrupted data for customer key less than or equal to this number based on the data that is available. Okay. So let me run this. Data analytics, customer demo. Oh, sorry, I missed the O. Oh. Okay, this is executing and you see 100 rows are updated. Okay, now what is the time? 12:11. Let's say I go back and select the table. Now you will see all the column names, custom names are coming as corrupted data. Let's say this is an unintentional mistake that we have done, and then we wanted to revert back to the old data. Okay, so the way we do it in Snowflake is using a concept called time travel. So time travel, if you look at here, you will be able to select a table that was based on a particular time. Okay, so for example, let's say 10 o'clock, I had the table uncorrupted. Okay, 10:05, I corrupted the table. So I would be able to use a select statement to look at the table as it was at 10 before the corruption happened. Okay. And the way we do it is using this. There are several ways of doing it. Offset is one of the ways. But what basically offset does is it looks at, I can say that give me the table at 30 seconds before or 1 minute before. There are several other ways you can do it also, but just for the sake of example, let's take offset. I don't know how much time I would have. Maybe I will give it a minute. But let's check. 300 seconds is for 60 seconds is a minute. Okay, let's check. Okay, I just need to give the complete path. Okay, so let's try. I don't think 60. I think it would have been more time by the time I was checking this. Okay, so it's still corrupted data. So let's give maybe 2 months, 120 seconds. It's still there. Maybe then go with 300 seconds, which is 5 minutes ago. Okay, 5 minutes ago, if you take a look at it, you would be able to see the corrupted data is not there, right? So now you are able to see customer information as it is before. So this is select statement. You can always, use the select statement to create the table. For example, I'm saying create or replace table as select star from this particular table at the 300 seconds before. Okay, let's try this. 300. Creating table and share data with Snowflake is not allowed. Why is this saying this? 1 second. Create or replace table. Okay, because I did not. So like this, I can create a table from the uncorrupted data. You can. It's much easier than what you would do in like a typical rollback approach. You can verify it. I'm just skipping it for now. There is also a way you can look at the credit consumption. You've been playing with Snowflake for a while. You can always look at the credits here, but you can always look at the credits for each warehouse here as well. So for example, 02 is the warehouse that we have been using. Query produced no results is because maybe it is a new warehouse. Maybe I'm not using this. Yeah, it's probably I'm just querying is too soon, but usually using this query, you should be able to look at the query numbers. Okay. Okay, so that is pretty much what I had for this hands-on working session. Before even we move further to the next step, anything particular that you guys did not understand or wanted to dive a little deeper? Any questions, anything that you guys wanted to ask me now? All good? Okay, take that as an S. Now okay, now let me stop sharing. We'll go back into the presentation and let's look at a few things that we need to complete. Okay, so let me share this back. Okay, so now that we have looked into the hands-on session, let's understand some of the Snowflake's power features. You have seen a lot of differences in how a traditional database work versus Snowflake. So, right, what exactly, what is happening in the back of Snowflake that is allowing you to have such great performance? These are pure power features that Snowflake has. One major concept that Snowflake is differentiating from all the other traditional approaches is It's multi-layer architecture. Let me explain what this multi-layer architecture is. So let's go to the whiteboard. Multi-layer architecture is Snowflake has 3 separate layers of cloud services, okay, storage, compute, and then storage. Let's say Snowflake is implemented in AWS, then cloud services is AWS. Storage could be S3, where data coming into Snowflake is stored in S3, compressed and encrypted. Compute is the compute power. So in traditional infrastructures, you would have seen compute and storage are coupled together. Okay, so when you have a database, the database will have like 500 GB memory, and it will have some like 10 ACPUs or CPUs. When it is not enough for your company's need, if it needs to be upgraded, you would have typically seen it needs to be upgraded together, right? Which is not the case in Snowflake. Let's say storage. You have the data in S3. You wanted a compute power for a lightweight activity like querying. Okay, so you can create a small size warehouse for querying the same data. Okay, let's say someone in your company wants to do a machine learning activity on top of storage. Okay, so you can create a Excel size warehouse and they can use this storage. Or similarly, you can have medium for some other use case, and then L for some other use case. So the benefit here is your storage is the same, right? But you can create compute as needed infinitely. Okay, so that is the 3-layer architecture that Snowflake is having. Storage, compute, and cloud services, where authentication and all the other things are being handled. Okay. Any questions here? No. Okay. So because of the functionality that we saw, Snowflake has several advantages. One is something called zero copy cloning. So let's say you wanted to replicate a data in a traditional database. You need to move it, you need to migrate it, and you need to validate it. In Snowflake, the cloning activity is very fast, regardless of the size, even if it is terabytes of data. The time taken is like very, very less to clone. The reason being, Snowflake doesn't move the data. So if we recollect back, Snowflake has the data stored in S3, right? And Snowflake has a mechanism where you would be able to access the data from S3 and get the output in the form of Snowflake tables that you are seeing. So when you do a cloning, Snowflake just refers back to the same S3 location instead of moving the data. That's why it is fast, and you will see the same functionality and you will see the same data cloned into a different environment. Okay. Time travel and fail-safe are the business continuity and recovery options that we saw. Then we have something called advanced data sharing, where without moving the data, we would be able to share the data with external customers. And then there's something called multi-cluster auto-scaling, which is similar to what you would have seen in some of the AWS technologies. So let's say you have an application running on Snowflake. and on dull Monday morning, there is very little users using it. So you would just need an S or L M size warehouse. But let's say there is a big India festival, or there is a Diwali kind of festival where your application gets used a lot. So during that time, you can have a mechanism for the warehouse to scale automatically to bigger sizes, so the load can be handled. Okay, so that facility or that provision is available here. So that is what we call it as auto scaling. These are the power features. Competitive landscape dominance, you can probably take a look. I will briefly go through it, but I wouldn't do a detailed comparison at this stage. Okay, so if you look at the competitions for Snowflake from AWS, there is Redshift. Google has the BigQuery, and there is the traditional systems. There's a lot of difference between how each of these systems compare with Snowflake, especially when in like Amazon Redshift, you need to do node management, and there are serverless options. But Snowflake provides you additional flexibility in terms of separating the compute as well as the storage. Okay. Uh, so real world success stories are basically business cases. Then you can take a look in the Snowflake case studies. But I wanted to briefly touch base on few of those. AT&T is a huge organization. There is a real world scenario of how AT&T used Snowflake in some of its application migrations. Capital One again used Snowflake, which impacted like 11,000 plus tech employees. DoorDash used Snowflake. DoorDash, I'm not sure if it is in India, it's more like a Swiggy in India. Adobe also migrated their retail jobs using Snowflake, and they saved a lot of money. Instacart also used expanded Snowflake usage across nearly every organizational team. So these are real world scenarios. If you're really into case studies and scenarios and want to understand this more, there are Snowflake case studies that you can take a look at. Uh, so finally, we will look into the learning path and the next steps. So let's say there were some students in this workshop and some experienced. There are two ways that you can look at Snowflake. One is, let's say you are already an established domain. Let's say you are working in finance and you're a finance professional. Snowflake is implemented in your organization, and you wanted to get used to Snowflake, so to run some of the basic details that you wanted to perform. In those cases, you might or might not need the certification based on your interest, but you can just understand Snowflake. Uh, Probably take a Snowflake training, understand how Snowflake works, and that is good enough for you. But let's say there is a student who wants to add some certifications to their belt so that they are faring better when they are looking for a job. In those cases, I would recommend going for the SnowPro Core certification, which is the first level certification. There are certain advanced certifications like data engineer, architect, and data scientist, which is next level. And there are some specialty certifications for Snowflake, native apps, and GenAI. So SnowPro Core certification is a certification that is widely acknowledged across the industry, especially if you're at a stage where you wanted to showcase that you are familiar with Snowflake. The training course, I'm not sure if it is already communicated, but the training that will be starting will cover the contents that is related for SnowPro Core certification as well. I would be the person who's conducting the training. If you need further details about it, you can get in touch with Excelytics. But this is the professional certification journey. If you are really interested in doing a certification and taking your the next step in your career. If you ask me if certification is important, I think I was a person who was pretty much experienced in data engineering field, but refused to do anything in certification for a while. But then I understood the hard way that certification is something that gives you the gateway to, land into some interviews. I wouldn't say it will give you the jobs, but it will for sure give you the interviews. So if you're interested, let me know. You can reach out to me or Excelytics or anyone who you think is appropriate, and then we can talk about it. Okay. I think that is pretty much what I had. What any questions, feedback, anything that you guys wanted to convey? I know there are a few other folks who has joined. Senthil, Sarisha, thanks for joining the call. Any feedback on how the course went or the demo went? Any information that you need on the certification or Snowflake training? No, all good. Okay. Okay, in that case, thank you so much for your time. Please reach out to Excelytics or me if you need any further assistance. Thanks for your time. Take care and enjoy the rest of your weekend.